What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Friday. I hope everyone is doing fantastic. Thank you for joining us. We're grateful that you've taken time out of your Friday evening to grow a little bit with us. You know, we are a community of people dedicated to creating positive waves of change for ourselves and others, and that requires empowering our own lives. So I'm grateful to be here. And tonight specifically, this is our Finance Friday call. For those of you that are joining us, Monday nights are Mindset Mondays, Fridays are Finance Fridays, and Sundays are spiritual Sundays if you want to grow in the Bible with us. So tonight we're going to be diving into money, and me and Mike were speaking about, what are we going to bring the first week. We will be bringing guests, by the way, successful entrepreneurs, successful business people from different industries that we can gain some insights and value from as well every other week. But tonight specifically, we wanted to go to the very fundamentals and the basics of money. Right? What is money? What is it for? What's the history? What's the purpose? What are the different ways that we can earn it? And what can we do with it? So I'm excited to dive in, and Mike's going to break it down for us, the foundation. He will run the first half of this call. By the way, guys, at any moment, if you want to ask any questions, please either drop it on the chat or find a good time that you can unmute yourself and ask a question. Okay. We want to keep this interactive, or write it down on the chat, and then we'll read it as soon as we can. Okay. We're here to grow together. We're all students. We're not sitting on this side because we know better. We're just students just like you, and we want to grow, right? And what's a better way of doing that than having a mastermind group that we can unite and grow, right? So with that said, I want to bring on Mike. Mike's been a brother of mine for about 8 years now, 7, 8 years. And the moment that I met him, he made a huge impact in my life because he was a guy that was serving people without asking anything in return, right? And that was very new to me. I was in college at the time. I was just eager to learn. I was ambitious, but I had no sense of direction. And Mike was one of the first guys that really gave me a sense of direction and purpose in my life, and started to see gifts that I had that I didn't even know I had, right? So I just want to thank you, man, for doing that, because it really planted that seed for change in my life. So for those of you that don't know Mike, he has an incredible story, and also has been able to be raised in a family that has seen success in their lives in many different areas, which, to me, that was also new to me because I didn't have that growing up, right? So I always enjoyed learning from him because he has a different mindset. He is intense and he is raw. So I hope you guys are ready to learn from him. And if you have some notes, please take those out. And with that being said, Mike Bitonti, passing it to you, my brother.
I appreciate it, Nicky T. Thank you for the kind words.
Of course.
So I drew the Nicky T drew the short straw, and he's got to actually go into the meat and a little bit more of the in-depth stuff. My job is simple, right? We're just going to talk about the basics, right? So many people just don't understand money, and that's the world that we live in. One of the principles that I really live by is one of my early mentors. He told me, "Look, Mike, just look at the numbers, right? 3% own all the wealth in this country. So if 3% own all the wealth in this country, that means that 97% of people have no idea what they're doing when it comes to money. And if that's the case, the 3% are doing something different, doesn't it make sense to look at what the uncommon path is and take that path, right? And so I started to look at some different things that we're going to talk about, and I want you to take this information seriously because, especially if you're young, this information can set you free. And if you're not young, there's no better time than right now to start applying this information to your life because time is limited. Right? You're not 20 years old anymore. So you got to get to work, right? So let's talk about what money is, right? To start, one of the base definitions that I got was a unit of measurement to regulate exchange, right? I dove heavy into the history. Oh my God, what are we doing? I'm getting phone calls right now. My bad. The money never stops. Am I back, Nicky? Thumbs up.
You're good.
Okay. So for money, we got a unit of measurement that regulates exchange. And when we're talking about that exchange. The history of exchange is done in multiple different versions. And I want to tell you about these versions because they're still extremely relevant today, right? We're talking about the bartering system. We're talking about trading different goods, right, as a form of currency. We're talking about sweat equity as a form of currency. All things that are so valuable that so many people overlook when it comes to the conversation of money, when it comes to the conversation of wealth, when it comes to the conversation of attaining goods and attaining different things that we want. Here's one thing that I want you to write down if you're taking notes. It says that currency is so valuable because it is an almost guarantee that it can be used for transactions anywhere at any time, right? Why do we value money so much? Why do we hoard it? Why are we so focused on what's in our bank account, what's in our wallet, what's in our pocket, right? It's because I know that because I have that wad in my pocket, because I have that cash in my wallet, because I have that number in my bank account, that at any given time, anywhere in the world, I can use those US dollars to buy what it is that I need. That brings comfort, that brings security, right? The majority of people that I've ever heard tell me that money doesn't buy happiness, they're broke and they're justifying to themselves why they're broke. But yeah, it's okay that I'm broke because money doesn't buy happiness. Like, that is the cop out. Money doesn't buy happiness, you're right, but it buys security and it buys material goods and it buys food and it buys resources. It buys comfort, right? It puts us in a position to win. I like winning. Do you like winning? Right? Makes you feel good about yourself. So money definitely has its purpose. This is what it looks like from a historical standpoint, right? Pre 600 BC, it was strictly bartering, right? For the first couple hundred years of humanity, it was just bartering. It was just, we're trading sheep. We're trading different animal skins, right? We're trading different resources, maybe agriculture. We're trading for different things, right? This guy grows corn. That guy produces milk, right? He's got the cows. And we're doing that one-to-one trade. And even there, when you look at that, it is the human perception of value that dictates currency. And I want you to know that because nothing's changed. It is still the human perception of value that dictates currency, right? And we're going to talk about that later when we climb into the digital currencies that we see today. So right around 600 BC, we saw the Asian markets adapt coins and currency, right? They used a mixture of gold and silver. It was called electrum, right? Electrum. And naturally, gold and silver in some places, they mix with each other. And so what they did was they harvested that, they stamped it, and that was what was used as currency. And those markets started to become increasingly wealthier. Why? Because they were able to trade outside of their culture using that currency, right? That's our first glimpse of gold backing currency and silver backing currency, right? The metals. What the Asian culture did after that was they were the first to start really bartering with what they were producing, right? They started producing weapons, daggers and swords. They started producing high quality weapons and tools, and then they were selling that internationally, right? And they started to increase their wealth and their ability to do different things. It wasn't until we saw this huge shift where they went to paper money that everything from a currency standpoint shot up, right? Why? Paper money, it's much easier to carry around than coins. It's much easier to distribute than coins. It's much easier to keep track of, to count than coins, right? I remember sitting there like young, like packing in those little sleeves of coins, like taking them to the bank before Coinstar. All you young bucks in and your privileged lifestyle before Coinstar were just packing these little sleeves of nickels, $5 nickels, dollar pennies, $25 quarters, right? And packing it in. But it's a pain in the butt, right? And when we switched to that paper money, everything changed. Why? Because the governments picked up paper money. And then the government started rocking that IOU system where we don't really have it, but we're going to get you back, right? And they started running that. And then we saw in the 21st century, mobile payments. Again, huge shifts, right? Now, I don't have to physically be there. And I don't have to, like, you know, some of the sketchy drug dealers like shipping cash across the country. Like, I don't have to be worried about that cash getting lost, right? We're doing Venmo. We're doing PayPal. We're doing Cash App, right? All 21st century currency, right? And it's even more so that IOU system because now there's nothing physical, right? There's nothing physical. And like banks are showing numbers and whether or not that money's actually there, right? I got $100,000 in the bank, but they're trading 90,000 of it, right? So the number still says 100,000, but the actual liquid capital, it might be hung up in the market somewhere. And then everyone's got to move stuff around. And that's what you see with these huge market shifts. We got some traders on. These huge market shifts are people just literally moving money around. The Waltons, they just moved $48 billion out of Walmart and into a family trust, right? Just moving money around. And because it's all online, we're seeing this huge shift. So that's a little bit of education on where money came from, right? But I want you to take note of a couple things. Where did we start? We started with bartering. To this day, I still barter, right? I got a guy coming up here probably in the next 2 weeks, and I'm giving him a week away from home at this lake house, and I'm giving him free beer and free food, and he's painting the house, right? That's what we call a barter system, right? One exchange. I'm giving you something, and you're giving me something, and that's how we're playing it, right? The friend card. The other thing, that sweat equity concept, right? I'm involved in a decent amount of stuff not because I had astronomical amounts of capital on the front end, right? But because I was willing to hustle. I was willing to not collect a paycheck for as long as it takes until this thing gets up and running, right? And that's that sweat equity mindset. And some kids got it and some kids don't, right? Some people got that mindset of like, I don't need a paycheck because I see the value. I see the future. I see the potential. And other people are like, you need to pay me up front for the website that I haven't built yet, right? And it's just two different mindsets, right? But take note of that barter and that sweat equity system, because when all fails, you can still exchange your talents, your services. Look what's happening right now. You got all these musicians going live and linking their Venmo, like, yo, free entertainment, like pay, if you want. You got people putting all of these different talents out there. The personal trainers right now, hey, FaceTime me in and I'll do a one-on-one session with you over FaceTime, right? If you got a skill, fine-tune that skill, because at any given point, you can learn how to monetize that. Hunter Mac, let me get some. You look great over there, right? We're going to keep it running, right? So now that you know what money is, let's talk about how to make it, right? Here's the thing that I've been preaching for a decade now is if you are broke inside of this country, if you are broke, it is 100% because of you. There is opportunity everywhere. And I'm not saying you don't got debt. I'm not saying you don't have bills. I'm not saying you don't have rent. But if you are flat broke, 69% of Americans have less than $1,000. And if you are flat broke right now, take a good hard look in the mirror, because money is everywhere, right? People are flocking to the US because it's a land of opportunity. You can go landscaping, right? Dennis, you can go You can go hustling. You can go busking, singing on the street with a bucket. There's a guy in Baltimore who made $100,000 shaking a cup at the busiest intersection in Baltimore. He made $100,000 in 1 year shaking a cup at people. Like, yo, can I get some money? Can I get some money? Can I get some money? Just asking other people for money. He made $100,000. So if I'm going to say it again for my people in the back, if you are broke inside of this country, take a look in the mirror. It is your fault, but that's okay because it's learning lessons. And what Nikki's going to drop on you right now is how to change that situation. I'm going to give you 12 different ways that you can make money. 1, manual labor. 2, the service industry, right? I got 14 and a half years in restaurants. I was washing dishes. I was bussing tables. I was running food. I was waiting tables. I was bar backing. Then I was bartending. Then I was front of the house manager and bartender, right? And just bartending, I'm making $400 or $500 a night, right? It's what I do with that money that separates everything, right? 3, you're 9 to 5. And here's the problem. When we get caught up in these entrepreneur conversations, you got all types of entrepreneurs and internet marketers and traders that are like trashing people's jobs, right? Just trashing what people do. Like, hey, don't knock my hustle. This is how I make my money. What I do with my money is what's going to separate me and catapult me into the 3%, right? And we're going to keep it moving. So you got your home-based business, right? You got your Enagic business. You got your trading. You got whatever it is that you do, right? Drive Lyft, drive Uber. They have specs. You got to have a car of 2009 and up. You got to have a clean driving record. Turo, you can rent your car out, let other people use it. You could do market research. You can literally sit on your ass and fill out surveys all day and make $50, $60 a day filling out surveys, right? You can do assessments of different restaurants. You can get paid to go eat out and write a survey, right? That conversation of market research. There's billions of dollars trying to pay people for their opinion on different restaurants. You can flip things on eBay. You can flip things on Amazon. You can flip things on Craigslist, right? You can get into food delivery and do Postmates or do Uber Eats. You can throw yourself out there on Fiverr, right? If you're a graphic designer, if you're good at editing paperwork, right? I put myself out there. I was making a couple $100 writing people's papers. I like marketed to college kids. I was like, yo, I'll write your paper, right? If it's 4 to 6 pages, $100. If it's 10 to 12, $150. Anything longer, $300, right? And I'm putting myself out there as like, yo, I can do this, right? Editing pictures, creating resumes, all of it. Fiverr, right? It's a hub. You can walk dogs. Go walk dogs. If you're that broke, go walk some dogs, right? You can babysit, right? I don't know many people asking males to babysit their kids, but females, go babysit, right? Personal training takes about 3-4 months to get your personal training cert. If you love the gym, go get your personal training cert. There are people out there who will pay you 30, 40, 50, $75 an hour. You played a sport in high school? You played soccer, Nikki T? Go do some soccer training. Go train up some high school kids, some middle school kids. Put yourself out there. So I'm going to say it again, last time, before I beat a dead horse. If you are broke right now, it is your fault. But that's okay. Let's change it, right? The first thing we need to focus on, cash flow. So many people, they have one job and they got bills that are covered by that one job. You're comfortable. You need to not be so comfortable if you want to make it to the 1%, the 2%, the 3%. Because as much as there's opportunity for sweat equity, money talks, baby. You don't got any skin in the game, odds are you're not playing, right? For the traders, you're making nickels on quarters, You're making nickels on dollars, right? But you see the big traders, they're playing with hundreds of thousands of dollars, $200,000, $1 million, and they're making money hand over fist. Why? Because it takes money to make money. If you don't know how to make money, read the list. Manual labor, service industry, 9 to 5, home-based business, Lyft and Uber, market research, surveys, flipping on eBay, Amazon, Craigslist, food delivery, Postmates, Uber Eats, Fiverr, walk dogs, babysit, personal training. You take your pick and go out there and figure out how to make some money, how to get positive cash flow, right? You should be trying to get like $1,200 to $1,500 a week between however you got to do it. One job, you got a really good job, right? I was bartending making that. That was great. But I added more on top of it, right? I was doing that Fiverr on the side. I'm trying to get to like $2,500 a week. At $2,500 a week, I'm making 10 grand a month, right? So stop focusing on your annual revenue and focus on your weekly revenue, right? And if you're a true hustler, you should be focusing on your daily revenue, right? How much money did you make today? So you gotta figure out ways to earn, right? And you gotta stop being so comfortable, right? I'm gonna leave you with this, and I'm gonna pass it to my best friend Nikki. He's gonna break down the cash flow quadrant, because the next part of this conversation is, after you accumulate money, what do I do with it? What do I do with money, right? But I'm gonna leave you with this, and it comes from Warren Buffett. This is what he says. Warren Buffett, he's filthy rich. He has 2,200 different streams of income. And you have one job. And you're like, my job, so taxing. This dude has 2,200 streams of income. 2,200 cookie jars, right? He says, break your day into thirds. This is what this right here. He 100% attributes success and failure financially to this conversation right here. You break your day into thirds. You got 8 hours for sleep. You got 8 hours for work. Work meaning whatever you're doing to pay the bills. And you got 8 hours of free time. He says you can take a look at the 3% and the 97% of people who are dead broke. And there is a significant difference in what happens in that free time. Significant difference, right? So you're going to fire back at me. I get it all the time. People fire back at me and they're like, well, I don't have any time. I don't have any time. And Warren Buffett is literally sitting there saying, yo, you got 8 hours for sleep if your body is still untrained and you need 8 hours. You got 8 hours. There's that. You got 8 hours for work, and that's if you're working a 9 to 5, right? So don't tell me you don't have time, because there's a whole nother 8 hours in that day that is completely unaccounted for. And you're like, yo, I got kids. Yo, I got this. Yo, I got that. Yo, I got to take a nap. On top of my 8 hours of sleep, I got to take my afternoon nap, right? I got to watch a movie. Got to watch this movie tonight. Right? Everyone's talking about this new Netflix. I gotta watch that. Right? Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, is literally telling you that the difference between your broke ass and the people over here who are making significant amounts of money and have so much time freedom and have all the toys that they could ever want, the difference is found in those extra 8 hours, that free time. Right? So take it for whatever you want, right? I'm just a guy out here trying to get mine, right? I'm trying to secure my bag. I'm trying to make sure that I'm not working into my 50s, 60s, 70s, trying to retire. I'm trying to make sure that when I put my hat up and I hang my boots up and it's time for me to go, like, not only was I crushing it, but I'm leaving astronomical amounts for my future generations to continue crushing it, to build upon what I left behind. Right? But if you're going to do that, if you're going to build generational wealth, if you're going to secure your bag, you need to identify the cash flow quadrant. So we talked about what money is. We talked about how to earn money. We talked about the fact that if you're broke, it's your fault, but that's okay because there's a way to turn it around, and it starts tomorrow by focusing on your daily income and increasing that number daily, right? And weekly and monthly and annually, right? I'm going to pass it off to my best friend, Nikki T. He's going to tell you what to do with that money once you have it. This is where we lose everybody. This is where the 3% just goes in the opposite direction, right? Because 97% of people, it's the Jordans, it's the Gucci belt, it's the Louis bags, it's the brand new car that you are struggling to make payments on. It's like all of these liabilities that you take on because you just don't understand money yet. So I'm going to pass it on to Nikki T. Hopefully after his spiel, you're going to get a little bit of a better idea on grabbing that money, budgeting, paying your bills, and stockpiling some away so that you can begin to become an investor and hopefully a business owner one day. So Nikki T, I'm going to pass it off to you, man. Drop some nuggets on these people.
All right. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. I enjoy the rawness, man, because, you know, even from my seat, as you're saying all that, I'm getting a little uncomfortable, and I love it because I know that if I don't get comfortable, I'm probably not growing. And so, you know, that's fantastic, man. I loved everything that you said, especially the Warren Buffett's, you know, quote with that extra third. What we do with the extra third is what our lives will end up being, you know, not just financially, but in every area. So I think it's just beautiful. And it's awesome because that means that we have the ability to change it, right? Whatever situation we're in. So I love it, man. So well, we're going to jump in now, guys, for the next 15 minutes. 15, 20 max. We're going to speak about the cash flow quadrant, like Mike said. And, you know, a lot of you guys have already heard of it. I'm aware of that. You guys have probably already read the book, The Cash Flow Quadrant, or Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? By Robert Kiyosaki. If you haven't, please go and get that book. That was actually one of the first books. I believe it was the very first book that I read when I was 18 or 19, I can't remember exactly, but it was life-changing to me, right? Because it gave me the mindset of the wealthy people, right? And just kind of put some things in perspective. So what I'm going to do right now, let me share my screen with you guys, and then we're going to jump in, okay? And we're going to dissect this thing. All right. Check this out. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can see this right now. Can you guys see this? Good? Yeah? Awesome. Okay. So let's check this out. So by the way, Robert Kiyosaki, for those of you that don't know him, he is worth $80 million. At least that's what Google says. I believe he's worth way more than that. But he's a very renowned real estate guy. He has a variety of books, many that he wrote with Donald Trump. I mean, the guy is incredible. He's extremely smart. He's a genius when it comes to finances, right? And his story is amazing. So I really encourage everyone to go study this on your own. And for those of you that have already heard about this, that you already understand it, right? This is just a great reminder for all of us, okay? So that we can really, really get this in our subconscious mind. So let's take a look at the left side of the quadrant, right? The left side of the quadrant starts with the E. That's the employee, right? That's when we have a job, a job. There is no leverage, and it is based on time, okay? And like Mike said, and I love that you said that, man, because for the longest, I myself used to look down at jobs, especially when I started to fall in love with entrepreneurship. But the fact of the matter is, jobs are a blessing, right? They give people an opportunity, and you don't need to start anything of your own. You don't need to go use your own money to do anything. So, and it gives you the leverage in a way for you to go and invest into other things if you're able to save it and then put it in the right places, right? There's no money in the job itself. There's no leverage, in the job itself. But if you're able to accumulate some of that money and not waste it, then you have a little bit of leverage to move on to the next part of the quadrant, which is the S for self-employed, right? These are people that are either working just for themselves on their own. These are small businesses, and these are specialists. Okay, you don't have a job, but you essentially own a job, right? And it's most likely just based on you and what you do. Okay, you are the job. Okay, you don't have a job, but you are the job. Okay. Here's a myth buster that I want to go ahead and throw it out there. You can become rich on all of them. Just FYI. Okay, this is from Robert Kiyosaki himself. You can become rich from all of them, but you do have a better chance of becoming rich on the right side. Okay, and we're going to talk about that in a second. Okay, there are advantages and disadvantages for all of them. Okay, so let's move on. Then the third one, business owner. That's when we own a system, a way of having money working for us. And that can be people working for you, right? So you're not only working for yourself or by yourself. You are either, you have a big business, which is approximately 500 people or more, right? Or you have another way where you get to create leveraged income. And he actually speaks about in one of his other books, it's called The Business of the 21st Century, that Robert Kiyosaki wrote. And he actually speaks about how having a home-based network marketing or direct selling business is the best way to become a business owner if you do it right and you get to become a leader. It forces you to become a leader, okay? So, and the amazing thing about this, right, that I want to note, and for any of you that are taking mental notes or physical notes, is that this, right, or let me go back, employee and self-employed, these are based on 100% of your own efforts, okay? Right here, the business owner and investor, it's based on maybe 1% out of 50 people, out of 100 people, out of 500 people, 5,000 people's efforts. So that means that you have people working for you as a business owner, right? Or excuse me, working with you. And then as you step into the investor side, you have money working for you. 95% of the population plus are right here. They're either employees or they're self-employed. And then 5%, 3 to 5% are business owners and investors, and they do control 95% of the wealth. Here's another very interesting thing. Did you guys know that the people on the left pay the most taxes? How crazy is that? Right? Like if these are successful in comparison with these, they get paid less, but they have to pay more taxes. It's crazy, right? So like the goal is to step from an employee to being self-employed, and then going into being a business owner and being an investor. Okay. Here's the mindset of the employee: security, right? All of these parts of the quadrant, they all have different mindsets, different priorities, and different skill sets. So if we want to elevate, that means that we need to change our mindset, we need to change our priorities, and we need to change our skill set or adopt new skill sets, right? We're gonna dive in here in a second. So when you step into the self-employed, the small business owner, or the specialist, the mindset is freedom and independence, right? They want to work for themselves. They don't want to work for other people. They may not have a big business, but they really care about freedom, which is awesome. You know, that's great. Whatever it is that makes them fulfilled. And then as you step into the B and I part of the quadrant, the mindset is this: who cannot pay to get the job done? And they care about financial freedom. Okay, this, by the way, this is not my perspective. This is not my opinion. This is from Robert Kiyosaki himself. And I encourage you guys to go study him on your own after this. I'm just bringing it to your attention again. Right? And as an investor, actually, the mindset is, where can I put my money so that it can increase its benefits, right? So that it can grow the benefits and multiply, essentially. That is the ultimate goal, right? So here's something that's very interesting to realize, is that if we wish to grow through the quadrants, we must educate ourselves to think like the business owner or the investor. So I'm going to stop sharing this and just continue speaking with you guys. So this is where it all begins, right? And it goes back to our call last Monday, which was our identity and our self-worth, because it truly goes back to what's in here, right? If we think that we're not good enough to become a leader and become a business owner and become an investor, we will never become that. It doesn't, even if we have the skill sets. As a matter of fact, if you don't have the mindset, you won't build the skill sets, right? So that it's truly where everything begins, because the mindset is different. Also very similar quote and statement that one of my mentors told me, just like Mike's. One of my mentors, very successful man, he shared with me, Nick, 97% of people think completely different. So if you wish to have more, you have to think differently. You have to think like the wealthy in order to become wealthy, right? And it doesn't happen automatically. It doesn't happen overnight. So I know for a lot of us that are already committed and dedicated to personal development, and we have mentors, and we are growing, we are reading, we are going to the seminars, we are investing into our mindset. It will not happen overnight, but over time, it will happen, okay? We have to first experience it internally, and then the external resources will come to us. Truly, I mean, we can study all successful people. They have that. They believe that they will succeed even before they succeeded, right? Which I think is just amazing. So I would just like to, to ask the question that we posed last week, which was, am I worthy of success? I just want to bring that self-reflective question again. Am I worthy of success? Take some time to really think about that. What was your upbringing like? What is your idea about money? Right? Maybe you find some lessons and reasons as to why you might not be in a position that you're happy with. And if that's you, I'm going to tell you, I've been working for the past several years and retraining my personal mindset, because I saw, my family either traditional average middle class, and I'm grateful, and I don't mean to bash anyone. This is not the point of me saying this. I'm just expressing to you guys that it takes some time to re-educate yourself, right? And I also saw the other part of my family struggling financially their whole lives. So that's what I saw. So if that's you, you're probably in the same situation. You have that in your subconscious mind. We need to force and allow ourselves and educate ourselves out of that mindset, right? So, and I think a great question to go along with, am I worthy of success, is, what do I want? Like, what do I really want in my life? If I could create anything, what would I want to create? And at the end of this call, I have a couple of questions and a little challenge and exercise that it's going to be great. I think you guys are really going to like it if you want to recreate your financial mindset. Okay. There you go, bro. I love it. Me too. Check this out. Working hard and yet neglecting the mindset won't get us anywhere. I'm going to say that one more time. Working hard yet neglecting the mindset won't get us anywhere. The change starts within. Okay? There's a lot of people that fear going into business and going and becoming an investor and using their money for different things. But the real risk is being uneducated. People are uneducated about money. That's the biggest thing that Robert Kiyosaki speaks about, right? The lack of financial education in schools, in the schooling system. And I think it's so interesting. So let's go in. I'm almost done. What are the 5 different investor levels? Okay. And every single one of us, we're in one of those 5 categories right now. Okay. So I encourage you to really take some notes so that you can really think about this and figure out where you're at so you can get to the next level. Okay. Level 1, you're in debt and your goal is to become debt free. You're in debt and your goal is to become debt free. You're a level 1 investor. Level 2, you may be debt free, maybe not, but you may be debt free, and you're saving in order to become cash flow positive. Yet you're not building any assets. You're not using your money for anything constructive in order to build assets that can bring you more money either right away or over time. So you may be debt free or still in debt, but you're only working and you're saving just to get out of the water, get your head out of the water, but you're not building any assets. Okay. Level 3, you're investing, but you still lack a lot of the skill sets and education necessary. So you don't get the results and you're failing, but you don't get discouraged. Okay. So you're investing your time, your money, but you're not yet fully educated properly with the right skill sets and the mindset. So you're not getting the results that you want, but you're not getting discouraged. Okay. Level 4, right? And because it does take time. Exactly. So level 4, you're aware that you need to learn more. And you're making investments, making mistakes, but you're growing. You're still growing. You're making some progress, right? And you're aware. That's the key word, aware, that you need to learn more. So you're growing. You're investing into yourself daily. Level 4. And level 5, once we have the true knowledge, the right information, the right programming mentally, we're recognizing chances as they come and we take them, and we have a good business judgment and good financial judgment, and we are either already or becoming financially free. And we're also giving back because we know that giving is important. Recognizing chances, so we take them, good business judgment, financially free or on its way, and giving back because we know it's important. So let's really take some time, after this call and figure out where we're at and what is it that we need to do in order to go to the next level. It's one step at a time. We can't do it overnight, but little by little, through the right mentors, through the right books, through the right information, through the right skill sets, through the right hands that we shake, and through the right commitment level to growth and to becoming better every single day and to making progress and setting our goals and going for it, we can make progress. And that is what it's about. The joy is in the journey. Let's not get caught up. I don't want this topic to be a reason why people feel down when they leave this call. Like that's not what this is about. This is just to evaluate where we're at and know where we need to do and what we need to do in order to grow. Right? That's the point. We cannot help other people unless we help ourselves. So it's okay to be wealthy as long as you do something good and beneficial with it, right? You're not being greedy. You can't help others unless you yourself become successful. So here are a few self-reflective questions, right? I love to bring these because I've been doing this to myself and it's been helping me change who I am as a person, the questions that I've been asking myself. So here are 4 questions, self-reflective, that I encourage everyone to write down on your phone, on your notes, wherever, and really, really think about this, okay? For yourself. Number 1, do you agree that wealthy people should pay less taxes? Do you agree that wealthy people should pay less taxes? And the reason I ask this question is because if you have if that gets you angry or mad, or you just really don't agree with that, right? Like what you're saying is that you want to be paying more taxes and that you don't want to be wealthy. It's the way that it is. It is the country that we're in, and it's a blessing because we get to create amazing things with that. The reason why most business owners and investors don't pay taxes is because they are helping other people make money as well. They're hiring people. They're moving money. They're generating things. They're giving value to the world. That is why they need to pay less taxes. That is a good thing, okay? Second question, where am I in the levels, right? Yes, that was already insinuated before, but where am I in the levels of investing, right? Number 3, what self-limiting beliefs do I have about money? What self-limiting beliefs do I have about money? I'm going to speak about that more here in a second. Last one, am I capable and committed to changing these self-limiting beliefs and building healthier ones? Am I capable and committed to changing these self-limiting beliefs and creating healthier ones? Are you capable and committed? Right? It's a great question to think about. By the way, if you're sitting here, you're an employee and you have a job as your only source of income, I encourage you to start looking for side ventures that you can potentially take on, either start one or join one, right? This is a great time, especially the times that we're entering right now. There will be a lot of opportunities. There will be a lot of jobs that people that will be losing jobs is already happening. So what a great time to not rely on a company to supply for your family and get creative and use God's intelligence that was given to you and begin to take steps into having something of your own that you can hopefully one day pass on to your kids, right? The Bible speaks about generational wealth. You cannot pass a job to anyone. So that is essentially saying that we must have a business of our own, right? It may not be your dream, but I encourage you to have that. If you have the desire of having something of your own, the sooner you start that, the better. And there's a lot of ways to do that. if you do have some money, here's some tips. If you do have some money, control your cash, spend less than you make, and then find a way to get your money to grow. I mean, these are simple things, but it's just a great reminders, right? Let's not blow the money. Let's not blow it, and let's find ways to use it productively. Here's a very important thing to realize.
Nick, real quick, can you say that one? Those three: control your cash.
Yeah. So control your cash. So if you have money, control your cash, spend less than you make, and use your money wisely so that you can grow it. Invest it so that you can grow it. Find ways to invest it. And I just want to make a point. The best business that you can invest in, the best company that you can invest in is You Inc., is investing in yourself. You have to grow who you are. You are the most valuable thing you have in your life. And if you're not growing yourself every single day, you are being selfish, because you're keeping your future self from being in a better position than you are today if you're not investing and growing every single day. Right? It becomes a lifestyle after a while. After you make a choice, like, hey, I'm going to grow every single day. I'm going to read 10, 15 pages of a book every single day. I will listen to some audiobook or podcast, or speak to someone that's 2 steps ahead of me, or a mentor every single day. And, over time it compounds. So there's a big difference, by the way, between having a calculated risk and going into risky business or investments. Calculated risk, it's good. Going into risky business or investments is not good, right? It takes that mindset. It goes back to the mindset of, are you properly educated in whatever you're going into, right? Doing your due diligence. All right. That's what I have. And now the last thing that I want to bring it to you guys. So this is an exercise and challenge that I would love to share with you. And this is something that I believe that I just did, and I'm going to share with you guys what I did, right? And these are 2 things. Number 1, next Friday, I'm going to ask you guys how it was and how you feel about it, okay? Number 1, write a letter to yourself. Write a letter to yourself sharing why you must succeed in life. Write a letter to yourself, telling yourself why you must succeed in life. And also in that letter, share, what will you do with your wealth? What are you going to do with it? And then number 2, expose the lies. Check me out. This is fantastic. This is a fantastic exercise. Expose the lies. There are 2 steps into this. Take a sheet of paper, write down all the lies that you tell yourself about money in pencil, if you can. And I'm going to share why in a second. So you write down all the lies that you're telling yourself, or that you've been telling yourself, or that you've told yourself, or that you believe your whole life when it comes to money, right? All the reasons why not. So here are a couple of examples that I came up with for myself, right? And you might have some very similar, but you might also have some different ones. Here's one. I lack financial stability, right? The little devil in my shoulder that sometimes tells me that belief from seeing my family struggling their whole lives. I lack financial stability. Another one, money comes hard and goes easy. Oh man, it comes hard, but man, it goes so easy, right? Have you ever said that to yourself? Here's another one. I can't change my situation. Oh man, you don't understand. You don't understand. Number 4, I'm not good with money. I'm just not good with money, man. I can't hold it. I'm just not good with it. You may be telling other people or yourself verbally, or you just thinking that. You believe in that. And that's been the story, the broken record in your brain. 5, these are just examples, by the way, right? For you to get you thinking. 5, I don't have the money. I just don't have the money. I don't have the money to do that. And it really boils down to the last one. And it goes back to the self-worth thing, which is, I'm just not good enough. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. That's actually one of the biggest self-limiting beliefs that us as humans have. We don't think we're good enough. And we could be doing calls every single week just about that, and that's changing that self-identity. If you haven't watched last Monday's or this previous Monday's call on, new beginnings and starting your life over and new identities and things like that, I really encourage you guys to check that out on our YouTube page. So I'm going to share with you just maybe one or two of them, of the second step of the exposing the lies. The first step is writing down all the lies that you tell yourself about money with pencil, right? And the second step is this. Then below it, you write down in red pen, if you can, red or blue pen, all the truths, all the reasons why that is not true. Or whatever it is that you wrote before is not true, right? Write down the real truth. What is the real truth? Okay? And then when you are able to fully believe it, believe that new truth about yourself, that new identity, right? That new idea, the new concept about you and money, you erase the part that you wrote in pencil. And that becomes your new reality, okay? So I'm gonna give you guys an example. I lack financial stability, right? So by the way, you're sharing the exact opposite whenever you're writing in pen. You're writing the exact opposite. And you write it in present tense about yourself, okay? So here it is. I lack financial stability. I am wealthy. Money comes to me frequently through expected and unexpected ways. I am financially stable and overflowing in my ability to take care of myself and others. I'm going to share one more. Money comes hard and goes away easy. I am financially abundant. I am a money magnet. No matter how much I invest or spend, money always comes back to me multiplied. Guys, these are just examples, right? For you to do it on your own. And I don't want to lose anyone, because this is not just wishful thinking. This is not just, oh, you're just, lying to yourself. Well, guess what? Do you think that if you lie to yourself long enough, even if it is a lie, if you lie to yourself long enough, that maybe you will begin to believe it? And then maybe, just maybe, if you begin to believe it, it would change your history, because it's what you're telling yourself. And now that becomes your new identity and your new reality. I mean, this stuff is proven, but the key is we must believe, and that's the challenge, right? The exercise is doing it. The challenge is beginning to believe it, but it's day by day. And, we have a sheet of paper that we actually read out loud. It's our daily creed. And we have a full page. Maybe one of these days we'll send it to you guys or share it in the group. And you read it and it changes how you feel. It literally changes how you feel in the moment and how you see yourself, right? And it is a form of affirmations. So I hope you guys really do that. And then we can kind of go over and see if there are any effects, right? Do you guys feel anything after you do this? And I believe the answer will be yes. So I hope that you guys were able to take some value from this. Right now, I'll open up the mic for any of you that have any questions or you'd like to say anything. And please feel free to unmute yourself. Any opinions, questions, observations, anything that stood out to you, so that we can grow a little bit as a group. Mic's down.